Now, there's one thing we've touched on just a little bit throughout all these conversations, right? Is the fact, yes, we're back on LAN. Now, for me, when I'm looking at this, we talked about it, Mitch, you said the Koreans, right, they had a few LANs to play on, then other teams maybe not played any LANs at all. This is the first going into it. fRoD, you mentioned also with there not being an audience, that being one factor of it all as well, because that's like less pressure. We know what it's like when you're in the stadiums and everyone's cheering and chanting around you. So some of them got like an easier way in. But for me, I don't think when it comes to Valorant inside of like the actual gameplay, when it comes down to this, I don't think the LAN's going to make that much of a difference, because look, they're all now basically in the same hotel room, right? They're all playing now in a position where it's boot camp mode, and they've had a good amount of time for it. So I don't think it's going to be that big of a factor this time around. I just think it's going to be the nerve side of things that we look at when it comes to LAN, Mitch.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think like when you look at the nerves on LAN, it's going to be a very small percentage of the players that are going to be extremely badly affected by it, if any. When there's a crowd, it's a whole different ball game, but without one, I think exactly as we were saying, like it sort of becomes like a studio event almost. These guys are going to see their opponents. I think that's pretty much the only difference to their boot camps, provided everybody's been on boot camps, which I think at this stage most of, if not all, the teams will have been, so they'll be kind of used to playing with their teammates. Like we said, Fnatic, for example, did that 10-day boot camp. Plus, they're now practicing in the training facility over in Reykjavik. So at this stage, I think the main issue is going to be, that's the guy I'm facing right over there. How much that's going to affect them, I don't really think it will, because they will have experienced at least, what a local LAN feels like, what playing in a room with other gamers, probably lacking a lot of deodorant based on the UK LANs I've been to. And so it's not going to be that much different, because there isn't a crowd there. It's just a couple more lights on you.
Maybe you can hear each other like yelling at each other. Like when you could celebrate, like sometimes that could take you out of the game. Like if certain teams like celebrate too loudly, or if the other team hears you celebrating. I mean, there are certain elements, like you said, potentially seeing your opponent. There's so much to it that, obviously has nothing to do with the crowd. So it's probably going to be more of that, the personal pressures that you may have to deal with, or like the potential storylines that you see. And it's a lot of those cases that you probably see a lot of athletes just like stay away from social media. It's probably good to do that in that case, to kind of like get away from the storylines and just kind of focus at the task at hand, and not let anything else kind of get into your own head in something that is like a studio LAN, like nothing that should be too like out of element that you've never seen before. If anything, probably a fraction of what some of these guys have been at before.